Hey, happy September, happy spring. I just wanted to air some thoughts about stuff that's been weighing on my mind for at least a decade. Just the area of like vocation and career and life goals and life achievement and all those things that I sort of wish I was a bit more part of and had a clue about. I guess the point of all this is I want to hear other people's stories. There's an article going around. It's called like Why Generation Y is Unhappy. And it's, to do with the difference between expectations of what we were told or we thought life was going to be and the reality of what we find life to be in our 20s and so on. Now, you can look at the word expectations in one of two ways. I guess the first way, which is what the article looks at it, is, what we expect life to be and what we expect from life. But there's another way of defining the word expectations or understanding the word expectations in that context, and that's the one that weighs much more heavily on me. And that's what we perceive life to expect of us and what we're supposed to do and supposed to be, supposed to bring, all that stuff. The consumerist dream, so grow up, get a career so you can make a lot of money, own a house or, have the bank own a house while you pay them off for 50 years or whatever. Trophy wife, trophy husband, trophy kids, or whatever it might be. The other narrative where we reject that consumerist ideal and instead it's replaced with a new ideal. You're supposed to like be humanitarian and do everything for other people and sort of spend your whole life fixing the world, doing good. And I think it's a great ideal, one that I'd say is much better, but it's still an ideal that you can hold yourself up against and feel that gap between expectation and reality, which in the formula equals unhappiness. There's kind of this image floating around that you have to that it's possible to be the forerunner in something in your 20s, which so few people are. Like that's unusual, that's the anomaly. Good on them. For the rest of us, like it's not possible and it shouldn't be possible. Like I don't think we should expect ourselves having this massive impact, which we assume has to be A, public for a start, and B, like massively change something, and C, be nothing like anything that any human's done before. In reality, the only way to uniquely fix a problem is to create a unique problem in the first place. Don't do that. Humanity's been struggling with the same issues for our whole history, right? All this stuff about you're unique and making your mark on the world. That's the one that gets me, because you grow up instilling in yourself that anything short of that is a failure. Now, there's another little saying which also pops around on Facebook every now and again. We always compare our own behind the scenes to other people's highlights reels. We're all down on this level, but we're all looking up at that level because that's where we think the other people are. I mean, even this video, right? You'll notice it's cut in a lot of places. I've edited myself. You're basically watching a highlights reel. Now, is that hypocritical? Well, probably not. It's just for clarity. But it goes to show that anything you see can be edited. Anything you see can be a highlights reel, can be polished, can have gone through this process, refinement, construction, editing to look a certain way. The people in your life or your perception of them has gone through that, of them constructing it and of you constructing it in your own head on perception, like something they have nothing to do with. Another really cool illustration, there's two rabbits and they each have a carrot that they've obviously been cultivating. The stalk or the leaves, the plumage, whatever you call it, of the carrot is massive and beautiful, and he's like really proud. Under the ground, there's this tiny carrot. And then next to him, there's another rabbit who looks all sheepish and embarrassed and doesn't want to be there. He's got this pathetic looking tiny plumage above the ground. But then below the ground, there's this massive carrot, like hundreds of times bigger than the proud rabbit's carrot. I mean, if you take the metaphor further, traditionally rabbits were not farmers at all. So I'm impressed with anything they can grow. Any size carrot is great. Maybe we need to apply that to ourselves. Now, I found myself looking around at, my peers. I don't want to use that word comparing, but like that's pretty much what I'm doing. I almost condemn myself for not being way up there with this, like, it's superhuman basically, and no one actually is. And even the people who are, like, they're behind the scenes is just as mundane and normal and probably confused as the rest of our behind the scenes. You can almost project your own good stuff onto other people and then think, oh man, how come they're so successful and I'm not? It's fucked. We're on autopilot with comparing. It takes a lot of work to undo that. So I think we need to sort of be patient with ourselves and not beat ourselves up for comparing. Get your shit together. No one else is comparing themselves to others at your age. Gosh. But of course they are. Now, I don't want to just dismiss that and say, comparison's bullshit, and don't. I mean, it's good to be free of comparison. But when you're in year 12 I think it's pretty reasonable to sort of remind yourself of those things and look around and go, yeah, no, people are just finding their way. No one knows what they're doing as much as it looks like they know what they're doing. But when you're 27, I mean, can you really keep saying, oh, these people don't actually know what they're doing and it's all facade and it's all a highlights reel? Well, not all of it is. They do have these like careers and direction and relationships and paths, and they're doing something with their life, and they've kind of seen a direction for their life and they've done it, and I haven't. And you start to feel like, well, it'd be the responsible, sensible thing to ask what I'm doing wrong. And I'm just wondering how many other people sort of feel that way. I know a lot of people do, but I don't know, as I said, looking for stories, it's good to hear each other out. I've found myself thinking to myself, gee, how and where did I fuck my life up? And was I set to fail, or did I just fail off my own bat? Now, what kind of stuff has to go in here for a 27-year-old to be thinking those kind of things? It's stupid. Basically, I'm wondering if it really is me. Like, if the bulk of this sense of being low caliber is real, and how much is just based on illusions. And it's very hard to tell sometimes. And the crazy thing is, I have this occasional epiphany where I go, man, what if this is exactly what other people think about me? Because they're just seeing a small part of my life, which is put out by me or someone else as this is what you're meant to look at. I suppose the point of all this is because I want to hear from people, at least want to get them thinking, if they're not already, just about this whole thing, and if you do have that expectation of yourself, and if it does weigh you down, who put it on you, or at least where did it come from? Where do you find you sit with this stuff?